Hello everybody, welcome to part 1 of I'm Yours as played and arranged by Sungha Jung. It's not too hard of a song, so we're going to get right into it. The first two things to note is that you have a capo on the 4th fret and that your first two strings, or your last two depending on which numbers you give each string, are tuned down a step. So you have a D and a G right here instead of E and A. So the tuning is D, G, D, G, B, E. You can just tune the E string to the D string and your A string to the G string. Okay, and capo on the 4th fret again. So that means that all of the frets in front will now be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So capo is 0. So to start with, we have this little intro part that goes. Okay, and it follows 3 different patterns. The first pattern is the, then it goes, and then it's. So the first pattern, you have the top 2 strings on the 3rd fret. You bar it. I use my middle finger. You can use whatever. On the 3rd fret, sort of the high E and the B, and then you slide up to the 5th, like that, and then you go back to the 3rd, and you also have the open A. So, and then you slap after that. I actually do the slaps in this song, unlike Fireflies or maybe some other Sungha Jung songs, because it really adds to it, and it's very easy with this song to do the slaps. So I would recommend doing them. So you have. The next part is you have that little pattern, which is just the open strings on the G, the A, and then the D. And I know these aren't the E and the A strings right now, but I'm going to call them that anyway. So, yeah. You have G, A, D. And it goes like. So there's a little bit of a rhythm going on. So you have. And you do it twice fully, so 1, 2. Now the 3rd time you only hit the 2 first notes. So you only hit the G and then the A. So like that. Then right after that you have, which is the same thing you did at the beginning, which is the 3rd fret on the 2 highest strings. Slide to the 5th. And then you have a D shape. And you also have the bottom note here, the E string. So if you don't know what a D shape is, you should probably know that if you're playing Sungha Jung songs, but you can see it in the tabs as well. So you have the first shape. And then this pattern you go. Which is the 2 top strings on the 2nd and 3rd fret. It's like a regular D chord. And then the lowest, the E, which is now a D, but the E string. And then you have the bottom note of the D chord, which is the 2nd of the G. So you have the 2 high strings, the lowest string, and then the G string. Okay, so that's the 2nd pattern. Altogether we have. And just like the first time, you do it twice with the whole thing, with the. And then on the 3rd time, you only hit the first 2 notes. Because then you're going to do this. So. Like that. So you have a slide from the 3rd to the 5th, just with the B string, which is different now. And then you go to this almost an E minor shape with the 2nd of the low E, and then you're also going to need the 2nd of the D. So I use my middle finger for the E string and my ring finger for the D string. So it's kind of a weird shape, but it's not too bad. So you slide from the third of the B to the fifth, and then you hit the E string, the low E, with the G and the B. So coming off of the D shape, you have okay, and then the pattern for this one is, which is the open frets of the G and B to start. Then you have the E string on the second fret, and then you have the second fret of the D. Now, unlike the first two patterns, this one goes all the way through 3 times. So on the third time, you don't go. You hit all 3 notes again. Like that. So we have like that. That's all we have so far. And there's the consistent slapping. So I'm not really going over each individual hit because you can see them in the tabs and you can feel them in the song. They're where they should be. It's pretty obvious. So after that, what we have is a pretty tricky part. It has this weird shape, which, believe it or not, is a C shape. Because if you think about it, you've lowered the A string a full note, full step. So what used to be here, which would be like a regular C, is now a full step up. So the next shape is a C chord, or a C shape. It's not a C chord, but it's a C shape with your pinky all the way on the 5th of the A. So it's quite a stretch. So you have 5th of the A, open D, 2nd of the G, and 1st on the B. And it's a really pretty tough shape for some people. It's tough for me. And I've got regular sized hands. So if you can't do that stretch, honestly, I don't know what you can do. Just try to stretch your hand out, I guess. But you'll get it. So what we do with that shape is you start with this, where it goes. And that's what that is. So you have, in the tabs, it doesn't have this, but when I've listened to him play it, he definitely has a hammer on. So I'll tell you where that is. You basically just go down, like that. So you hit the A string, the D string, the G string, then the B string. And he does a hammer on onto the B string. Like that. Like that. So, again, really tough chord shape, and you're just going to have to work on it. So, the pattern for this one is relatively easy. You have the G string, which is open. You have the 5th of the A, and then you have the 1st of the B. So after you do this, you go. And again, you do that twice. And on the third time, you go. It's the same for the first 2 notes, the G string, then the A string, but then it's the open B. And at that point, you can let go of the chord and just do, because you don't need the first right here anymore. So if you can't hold it any longer, then you'll only have to hold it for a little bit. So that part sounds like this. Okay, and then it gets to the cool part where it's. So what that is, you start with the open G string, and then you have the A string and the B string, and then you go back to the open G. Okay, and then you slap. Next is open G again, then open low E, and then D. So the part so far is again, this is all open, you don't even need the left hand for this part. And then you have, which is, you have the open G, you hit that 3 times, and on the second time you also hit the A string with it. And then you have a slap, and then you have, the next part, you have second of the G, open A, and then open B. Then a slap. So far we have okay. And then you have which starts, it starts almost the same way with the open G, and then you have the low E and the B together. On the first time you had the A and the B, and now you have the E and the B. So you have, and then you have the fourth of the D, slap, then fourth of the D, open E, and then second of the A. So you have a slap again, then you have, which is you hit the fourth of the D 3 times, and then on the second time you also have the low E with it. And then you have the fifth of the D. I usually do a little, I slide from the fourth to the fifth, but whatever, you can do that if you want. And then you have, so you have fifth of the D, open E, and second of the G. So with the last part, it sounds like this. And I usually do a little slide, but you don't have to. And the next part is like that. So you're back to this E minor-ish shape. So you have the second of the E and open B, and that's after you hit the open D. Sorry. So you have, so you have open D, then you have second of the E and open B, and then you have second of the D and open G. You have a slap. You have the same thing again, and then you have second of the E, fourth of the D, slap, and then second of the D. So that part sounds like this. Slowly. Like that. Okay. Next we have, let's see, we've got right after that we have, it's kind of a tricky part, but it's not too bad. So you have second of the E, slap, then this part which sounds like this. So you start on the second of the D, and then you have second of the E, then you have open D, or open A, sorry, and then open D. So, and then when you hit the D string, the open D, you also slap, which is kind of hard. I'm still getting used to hitting only one string with slapping, so it doesn't sound that good, but that's what it is. So you have, Okay, and with the last part with it sounds like this. Okay, then you have the last part here, which is again that stupid C shape. You have, and that's it. So you start with a fifth of the A, slap, and then you hit the chord itself, which is the C chord. So you hit the A, the G, and the B. And then you hit the open G and B. You have a slap. You do the same thing. So. And then you have, which is again a slap when you're doing something. So it's you have fifth of the A again, and then you have second of the G, and you pull off to the open G, and you also slap when you do that. Like that. So that sounds like that. The last little part is open D, back to the fifth of the A, and then you hit the B and the G open. So that part sounds like this. Like that. I'll do it slowly one more time. Okay. That's going to be all for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed and I hope it wasn't too terribly explained or anything. The next part is going to be coming out soon, so stay tuned and see you later.